Okay.
Draw of the day. Oh my God!
Welcome back to MMA Underground. I'm Jay, and I'm here with the one and only
Sam K. And shit, man, we got a phenomenal guest in the building. Back for his second time, we have the one, the only, the young heavy hitter himself, King Burrcetti, in the building.
Yes, sir, man. Good to be back, man.
Yes, sir. Great to have you, man. Shit, man. Let's get into that last fight, man. That last fight, right off the bat, it's King Burrcetti versus Island Strong, man. Island Strong is an OG to the West Coast. You know, he's been with us for some years now. He's had some classics. And both of you guys had your second fight of the day with each other. So let's get into it.
So, man, I mean, of course, that was like my second fight of the day. So, I mean, after the first fight, up against, what was his name? Ferme or something like that, right?
Ferme.
That was just, I mean, looking at that fight, it's just, a simple little fight, you know what I'm saying? Simple little, first, second round, whatever, second round stoppage, whatever, right? And then, like I said, as soon as I walk out the cage, and Free Smoke walks up to me and asks if I'm ready for another fight, as soon as I walk up out the cage, and I come to find out who it is, and it's Island Strong. And right then and there, I pretty much accept the fight, just waiting for it to happen. And when it did happen, it was a fucking war, bro. That was a hell of a war, man. Like, I can't even express to you, even though just watching the fight, instead of, fighting in there, in my point of view, but just watching the fight, when it came up on YouTube and whatnot, and just watching on the first axis, but it was a very good, technical back and forth, war between us. And that's exactly what I wanted. And the fights going into that event and, in the future events that are going to be happening. So yeah, second fight was a war, and I'm looking for more wars. Looking for plenty of them. Ton of wars. This 2026. Some bangers.
Hell yeah.
That's crazy. 2 fights in one day. You just get out the cage and they're like, hey, you ready for the next one? They're like,
yeah, exactly.
Let's just Shark Tank him at the event right away.
And it's crazy because, that first fight with Ferme, right? You showcased in that fight a level up, I believe. You showcased, more technical, more awareness, but more technicality in your boxing. And it was obvious, like, there's still something in the tank. Does he want another match? And of course, King Burrcetti does. How many fights have you had with us so far?
It was about a good 8 fights so far. Been a good
Okay.
8 fights.
You racked up a lot of fights in a short amount of time, man. And, you
Yeah.
know, to that point is, that's experience, and one thing I've noticed is I've noticed your experience. I've noticed your level up, your growth. We still have areas to improve as always, but definitely in both of those fights, you showcased a lot of heart, conditioning, but technical ability. And I know it's hard because we've talked before off camera where, not having equipment, training partners, the ability to move around and, have access to things that other fighters do. How are you doing it, man? That I guess that's the question.
I don't
How did
know,
you get
man.
to
I
this
mean,
point?
especially with these 8 fights coming in, you know what I'm saying? It was just it's been, can't even say like magical or nothing like that, but it's been quite a fucking it's been quite a wide ride, you know what I'm saying? It's been quite a ride, been quite a roller coaster, if you will, just going up and down with these fights, especially starting off 0-3, and having to rack my wins up, you know what I'm saying? Uh, it was an experience throughout this whole ride, and quite frankly, for 2026, it's going to be more of an experience, more battles, more fun fights, more wars, more technicality, more technical fights, you know what I'm saying? And it's just
Well,
gonna.
real quick, what's driving you? Because you mentioned the 0-3, and most people don't come back after that first L. You know what I'm saying? How do you come back 0-3, and then now you have a winning record, and to do it with the circumstances that you're faced with? Like, what pushed you to do that?
Just to get more challenges, just to be more challenged, and just to get more fights in, get more experience, and just to get more battles and more challenging fighters against me, you know what I'm saying? And just to up and up the pace as I go, But other than that, it was a drive just to come back and just to fight back, to get my get backs, you know what I'm saying? I still gotta get my get back on deploy, you know what I'm saying? It's a little good one, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it's gonna be a good little second fight if they match that one up with me once again,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, for the second time after that happening with my being my first fight, my debut fight up against them. So
We got to mention King Burrcetti more often when we talk about the broke marks, the deploys, the mortems, who am I missing? What's my boy name? The scars. There's a group of those guys who are all fighting each other. Dark. We got to mention King Burrcetti is in that same category of class fighters. And definitely I want to see that rematch with you and Deploy, but
yeah, most definitely.
There's some other great matchups with the other guys I just mentioned.
Yeah, most definitely. I am looking forward to those other matchups with those other guys too. But it's just after, I feel like, especially after that classic matchup that I had with Deploy, I feel like the second one could be a lot better. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the first one was fucking war by itself, It was a good ass fight by itself. And I can tell you right now, I'd be looking at that fight every now and then, just watching it every now and then, just watching how good of a fight that was,
Mhm.
and just, if it were to happen again, it's going to be another classic, if not another, technical, much more of a technical war, you know what I'm saying? Just, almost like a high level fight, that's what I'm looking forward to, I'm always looking forward to a high level fight every time I step into the cage, and that's what everybody's going to be looking forward to this coming up 2026, this next year. So
I like it.
We're just talking about the road that he's on right now, having 2 fights in the one event. And I was going to bring up the fact that you're creeping up on the Hall of Fame. Is that something you think about? Is that something that drives you? Like, where does that sit in goals for you with Street Beefs West Coast?
Wait, what was that again? Sorry, one more time.
No problem. I was just saying you're creeping up on the Hall of Fame. Is that important to you? Is that something you think about? Does that motivate you?
Oh yeah, most definitely it does motivate me, and it's most definitely important, because getting to the Hall of Fame is just like, getting into something, that other people get to know about you, get to experience about you, you know what I'm saying, and just how you fight, how your personality is, whatever the case is, you know what I'm saying, just how you just go with the flow with everything, But yeah, getting in the Hall of Fame is most definitely important, and I'm most surprised that I'm even getting there in this type of pace, you know what I'm saying? And just like I said, I feel like at the same time I feel like I'm not, because I feel like I need to get, a good couple more, good battles, good wars, get some bloodshed out, out of these fights, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking forward to, is just, getting some good, aggressive, technical wars out of this, and, some blood shedding tears out of this. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to look for every time I get into this. And like I said, 2026 is going to be, it's going to be a whole lot different than what it was, this year. So I'm looking forward for 2026 to be a, just hard fights, some good ass fights, some good technicality, some high level fights. That's what I'm looking forward to 2026.
Hell yeah. To take on 2 fights in one day, that takes a lot. But not only that, I mean, we had the man himself at that event, Scarface.
I got to talk to him too, bro. I was like, I was pretty amazed that, both the man and Brawley Black were getting into that championship fight. That was a hell of a fight. Hell of a fight. And watching that fight, I was like, I can't even say otherwise of that fight being fight of the decade, fight of the year, fight of the day, whatever the case is, bro. Like, that was a good ass fucking fight, and nobody can, disagree with that. Yeah. Nobody can deny that. That was a good fight.
But great to be fair, you and Island Strong, man, make for a good argument.
Yeah.
I mean, again, both of you guys, second fight of the day. That was a high volume, high pace fight at that. One thing that I question every time a fighter says, "Oh, I'm going to take on another fight," what type of conditioning, what type of, cardio, what type of stamina does this guy still possess, And both of you guys pretty much looked fresh, and very technical, very sound, even in the first fight with Ferme, I saw you working the body shots, really to your advantage. The overhand, using it, at key moments, you know what I mean? You weren't just flailing power shots, you know what I'm saying? It was very impressive, you know what I'm saying? And again, Island Strong is no slouch either, you know what I'm saying? He's he's an OG for a reason, he's been through some wars. But much like yourself, man, you've been through some wars. What are some classic or favorite fights of yours?
Of course, the last fight with Island Strong, and the very first fight with Deploy. And let's see, I had 8 fights, so it's like, and I guess I know I had those couple matches with Slim the Reaper, and one of those reels got like a lot of views, but I guess I can consider that one like one of my favorite fun fights too, going up against Slim the Reaper, you know what I'm saying? Just showing what we can do,
Mm-hmm.
But that was another one of my favorite fights too. But I feel like there's another one in there. I guess for experience too was was the Bloody Raps fight. You know, just getting bodied in that fucking fight. You know what I'm saying? That one was just coming in there with the experience of how good he was and how good he can be, whatever. But just over time, over the time with the case being, just getting to know myself and how good I can be. So I'm starting to learn that a little bit, over time with these fights.
Yeah, that was another fight. I mean, shout out to my boy Bloody Raps. That's another guy, high level, lots of experience, and to your point earlier, you taking on these challenges and wanting to fight better, and fight guys who are going to give you that challenge, and you don't see that too often. It's very commendable. I'm pretty sure he had some weight on you as well.
Yeah. So
it
was like a switch up. It was like a switch up in the last minute of that event too. Because I think on that event I was supposed to be going against what was his name? Man, I feel like it's an easy name too, but I can't remember. But it was a short Hawaiian looking dude. I feel like I can remember his name, but it's like fuck. Can't right now. But yeah, no, I was supposed to be going against somebody in that fight. But like I said, I ended up switching last minute and it turned out to be Bloody Raps that I was going to be fighting. So, yeah. And they did tell me that he had a bit of a weight advantage too. So I was like, all right, bet. You know what I'm saying? Still going to go up in there, do my thing. So,
yeah. Who would be, some of the matchups that you would be looking forward to in 2026 if you had the option?
Of course, the Deploy fight, and I feel like got a couple more in there. I feel like maybe we can get Sad Lee in there too. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that'll be a good one. You know what I'm saying? That could be a great fight. That could be an underrated good ass fight. You know what I'm saying? I feel like
that'd be your biggest challenge right there. Sadly.
Yeah. And what other guys are in my weight right now?
Let's see. You got the Deploy, you got Dark, Broke Mark, you got
I was talking with Dark too about, if we can get in the match together in the future as well. He was like, yeah, we can do that shit too. And I was like, I feel like it could be another good ass matchup right there too. So
absolutely. There goes Ryan. Perfect timing. I think Gremlin has a little bit of weight on you, but I think that would be a good matchup. You and Super Gremlin would be a good matchup.
Yeah.
I think you and Scar would be a good matchup. Scar has a little bit of weight on you, but I think stylistically that'd be a good matchup with you guys. Maury was my boy I was trying to think of earlier. I think you and Maury would be a dope fight.
Yeah.
Maury's another one of those guys who doesn't get mentioned in the Broke Mark Dark, Stickman, that kind of realm. But yeah, all you guys, similar weights and stylistically match up really well.
Yeah, I'd be looking forward for those fights if they were to come up on my list. So you know what I'm saying? If Street Beats West Coast were to ever give me those fights, I'm looking forward to them. So
yeah. And then also too, as you know, like every new year comes a new roster basically gets formed, with new fighters. So who's to say, there may be another King Burrcetti on the come up, you know what I mean? So
I need a spreadsheet of the weight classes, man, because I never know who's in what weight class. I just watch the fights.
Well, you need like a spreadsheet on what fighters in what weight class, or
Yeah,
how
like, and then so I can add to them. Like,
Mhm.
as you get new fighters, I need a whole list. And I need a little spreadsheet. So I got a cheat sheet during the show, and I'd be like, oh, 135ers. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah, but they would have to stick to that weight, you know, because some folks fluctuate.
Yeah, but at least
Yeah.
I'd be close enough, right? Like,
True.
because you guys are like, who else? And I'm thinking, I'm not even sure who's in his weight class.
Yeah, I usually think about like the matchups that have already taken place. So I think about like the reoccurring guys who kind of swap out amongst each other, you know, similar to the heavyweights. You know, you have this reoccurring thing with, you know, Shinigami, Scorpio, Young and Lavish, Ryu Senen, you know, where it's a group, it's a specific group of guys kind of like all fighting amongst each other. You kind of have that with the smaller weight class as well, because quite frankly, you know, it's harder to find guys that weight to match up, you know. So yeah, man, I mean, for the lighter guys out there looking for fights, you know, we got all weight classes. You know what I mean? 115, 125, 135, you know what I mean? There's a place for you guys, you know. And you got fighters like King Burrcetti who will, you know, hit you like a 225er.
Well, King Burrcetti, when you first were getting ready to go to Street Beefs, like, were you thinking, I'm going to fight multiple fights? Were you thinking this is something I'm going to go in there and do? And how did your perception change after the event?
After my first event?
Yes. Sorry, I was reading Free Smoke's comment. I made the mistake of popping comments on before I read them and then go, oh, shit, I shouldn't have posted that.
Yeah, no, after my first fight, especially, you know, with deploying and stuff like that, yeah, I just kind of went in with all the other events, just trying to get as much fights as I can, trying to get as much experience as I can. And, you know, trying to fight as much of the top guys as possible. Not only that, the fact, you know, trying to, you know, get myself better, trying to, you know, get better fights for myself, you know what I'm saying? But just trying to, you know, be more technical, be more with the flow, be more better with everything, you know what I'm saying? Just, you know, so that way I can fight these top guys, you know what I'm saying? And just, you know, I feel like I have that. I'm starting to learn, you know, my abilities, that of what I can do during these fights, and you know, and I feel like it's just gonna be better as it goes on, as you know, especially with 2026 to come up. I feel like all these fights that are gonna be coming from me for 2026 is, it's gonna be very tight. It's gonna be very fast paced, and it's gonna be fun. It's going to be very fun. It's going to be, all these fights are going to be fun for 2026. And I can't wait to show everybody that watches these fights how fun these fights are, that can be, you know what I'm saying? That, you know, of whatever comes up to me, of whatever, whoever, you know, comes to face me, you know, I'm trying to make these fights as fun as possible. And I think 2026 is the best time to lay everything out on the table and just, you know, show the work that I can give out, you know?
Well, speaking of showing people your fights, I was thinking about this while you were talking. Were your people like, you're fucking crazy for going to do this on your first time, or were they like, hell yeah? And then have you shown your fights to people and they were like, no way, get the hell out of here, and that kind of thing? Like, what is their reaction? And what was it like when you first told the people around you, like, hey, I'm gonna go to this backyard fight club and throw down?
It was crazy. I mean, everybody pretty much couldn't believe it. They're like, wait a minute. It was, you know, because, you know what I'm saying, I live here in the same town where everything is. I'm like, wait a minute. You're fighting in the Street Beefs and it's here in town? I'm like, and they're all like, what the fuck? And they're like, yeah, they're all like crazed about it. They're like, bro, it's actually here in town? I'm like, wait a minute. They're just all like surprised and shocked about it. I'm like, fuck, I was too at first, you know, when I got told about it too. So I was like, as soon as I got mentioned about it, I'm like, I gotta jump in this shit, bro. I was like, I have to jump in this. And then, you know, with everybody, and then, you know, with regarding, you know, seeing my fights, everybody was just, you know, like, yo, we gotta see that shit. We gotta see that shit, bro. We gotta see it, bro. We gotta see it, you know? And just, you know, like, when is it coming out? When is it coming out? You know, when are the highlights? When are the fights dropping? It's just like, it just, you know, they're just hype about it. They just want to see me, you know, do my thing and whatever, bro. It's just like,
it's got to be crazy because I don't even fight. And people are like, oh, you do a podcast with fighters from Street Beef? Because everybody who finds out about Street Beefs gets addicted, right? It's kind of like if you're into combat sports and somebody shows you Street Beefs, it's kind of over. You're going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
I'll tell them like, oh, yeah, my wife and I went out to one of the events in Arizona and people lose their mind and they're like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, like, so I can't imagine as a fighter, like you actually get in there and fight and then people find out you did this. It's got to be crazy. Like, I'm sure Sam K. he smirked, but I'm sure it's happened with your people too. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I feel like it's just like, what do you call it? It's just like, what was I gonna say? Damn it, I forgot what I was gonna say. It's just like with everybody around me that just wants to watch my fight and stuff like that. It's just hard to believe that they do want to watch my fights. It's just like, you know, I just go figure, like, you know, it's just gonna be another thing. You know what I'm saying? But they're all like, yo, we got to see this, bro. We got to see your fight. You know, we got to see how you did, whatever. You know. But I'm just like, damn, bro. You know. So I'm just like, it's just crazy. You know, with everybody that, you know, that knows that I'm doing this, it's just hard to believe. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
It means a lot to have some support. Oh, my bad.
Oh, I was just going to say it's about you anyway, Sam K. I remember we're on the MMA Underground one time back when you first started, and somebody in the thing was like, hey, that's the ref. Like, right off the bat in the comments. So, like, it's just kind of cool how people, like, see you guys on the internet, and then they're like, oh, they can relate to what you're doing. And with that, just one last follow-up on when you first came into it. Anybody you know watched your fights and said, I need to go do that?
Not really. I mean, there are like talks about it, but you know, they never really just done it because they weren't really sure, like, if, you know what I'm saying, like, if they can just go in there and do it, you know what I'm saying? They're just kind of just like a 50-50 type of situation.
It takes a certain type of crazy to do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Straight up. Yeah.
And then they come back,
you know,
and do
sometimes
it
I feel like, and sometimes personally myself, I feel like I'm not even crazy enough to do this shit. But then I got like the whole other side of me that, you know, wants to do this shit, and that's why I do it, you know, and that's why I do this shit, and that's why I'm trying to bring the best fights as possible for not just me, but for everybody that watches it, and not trying to waste their time watching a boring ass fight, you know. And that's what I'm trying to look for in 2026 is, you know, not everybody watching, you know, a boring King Burrcetti fight. You know, that's, you know, 2026 is what I'm trying to say is like, I'm trying to look for some more better, funner fights, you know, for 2026, and some badass motherfucking fights, some badass wars, and, you know, some fun fights to watch. That's what I'm looking forward to for 2026.
Yeah, I thought you was good. I thought Super Gremlin was trying to have a shootout with you real quick, but no, it was shout out. Free Smoke got a question and he wants an answer to, so we'll make him happy. And how is it finding good training and training partners in Pahrump? And I'm sure I'll get made fun of for how I said that.
No, it's not that's how it sounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just the other city.
Oh, the Las Vegas, yeah.
Yeah, no. And it is kind of hard to find some training partners out here. I mean, as long as if I actually try to go out and look for some training partners, I feel like maybe I can get a few. But I kind of trained with God's Chosen, you know, not like with sparring or nothing like that, but just kind of like the drills that he does and stuff like that with, you know what I'm saying, just what he does with his drills. And that motherfucker made me throw up because I wasn't fucking prepared for what he got for me. You know, he made me do all this other, you know, drills and shit. And I feel like it weren't even as much either. You know, it was just, that was the whole beginning part, but that was just, you know, just me not being conditioned enough for those type of drills. And yeah, I fucking paid the price for it at the end. So yeah.
How has training changed for you from fight 8 currently since fight 1?
I feel like it's changed, not tremendously, but it's changed quite a bit, which is how I tempo myself, with just with the shadow sparring. And I still need to get a heavy bag because I tore mine up right before the anniversary event with the straps and stuff like that. So I still need to get another heavy bag with that, which I'm pretty sure I'll get pretty soon. But other than that, I feel like just with how I shadow spar and everything like that, it's been like just been with the tempo that I'm trying to get down with, and just a habit, just a habit of just getting my tempo down and just what I need to do and stuff like that. And just if I were to, get somebody, just trying to get with the flow with everything, with my footwork and, which everything that includes with, with boxing and stuff like that, and trying to, transition into other stuff in the future, so looking forward to that.
You mentioned footwork. I believe when we first had you on the show, we didn't have mats, correct?
No.
Okay, so what's your opinion of the new cage versus not having mats and fighting on sand?
Well, the first time, because that was my very first fight, and the last time I fought on the sand, when it was like that, you know what I'm saying? That was like my very first time, and the last time that I fought in the cage with the sand before you guys put up the mats and everything, you know what I'm saying? Just comparing with the sand and the mats are a big difference from just fighting on the sand. You get the stability and just how you move and just how you move around the cage, and how you get the flow with everything, because you don't, with the sand you just kind of slip around and everything. So I feel like with the mats, it's just a lot better, just getting the, with the movements and this, like I said, the stability and everything around that, and just moving around and not slipping around and falling on top of, the other fighter or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's a lot better with everything according to that.
And if you think about it, it's crazy because he's put up 8 fights since you guys put in mats.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's crazy to, especially because I probably wouldn't even have these much fights if the hot box wasn't even down. If you guys were just going in between both, what you call it, just both of the backyards and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Both of the shits. Fucking goddamn it. But yeah, I feel like with you guys remodeling with Arizona, remodeling the fucking the hot box and stuff. I feel like it's given me a lot of time to actually sign up for a lot of these events, and to get that opportunity to get the experience in.
Sunshine hit you with the locations. I was thinking venues, but I mean location. Yeah,
that's what I was trying to think of right there too.
Yards came to my head right away.
I couldn't get it, bro.
We all thought
you said yard. Yeah, yard is the quickest.
Yeah,
man. What do you think of? What's your opinion of the different yards? The hot box, the original hot box, because the new hot box is going to be what it is.
Yeah.
And the smoke ranch, the different versions of the smoke ranch.
Since I haven't fought in the hot box yet, I don't really know what it's like fighting in there, because now since they're remodeling everything. But fighting in the smoke ranch it's like, it's almost like fighting in the UFC cage, because I mean it's a little bit little, but it's fighting in the cage, almost like being in like an actual octagon. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's an experience, fighting in a cage like that, and just and fighting with other fighters in the cage. That's almost regarding like the octagon type of shit, type of shit like that. So
did you want to fight in the hot box?
Yes, I just need to get everything together with going over there and fighting over there as well, and just getting all my funds and shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely
need the funds, and that is very understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We do have 2 tournaments coming up in 2026 for the people who aren't aware. Will you be a part of, or would you like to be a part of any of those tournaments?
I ain't gonna lie, I did sign up for one of the tournaments, but I ended up backing out because I feel like I got other stuff going on with with just personal stuff and just trying to get everything together. But I feel like this January fight, if or whoever I go against, because I think I'm signed up for that fight if I haven't. But for this January, I feel like it's gonna be very good. I got because I got everything on the line and stuff like that. With everything I've got going on personally, so I feel like January, especially for the new year, I'm trying to get a good fun fight in. I'm trying to get a very good fun fight in. Uh, very technical. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, um, but yeah, I'm just trying to get everything going right now. Just trying to get my stuff going on personally and just continue on with everything else. So
Now, regardless to entering the actual tournament, would the style of dirty boxing, would that be something we could possibly see you doing in the
yeah,
future?
yes, most definitely. As long as I
Okay,
get everything accorded with that, yeah, most definitely.
because I feel like the type of fighter you are, very explosive. You say you never want a boring fight. All your fights are entertaining, at least from your part. I feel like you're the perfect matchup for that type of style, which is the dirty boxing with the elbows and everything like that. Um, as a fan, bro, I'd love to see it for sure.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. Yeah, one of these days I'm gonna catch y'all by surprise and sign up for some dirty boxing and hopefully we'll get to see some good gritty action
Oh yeah,
when that comes to play. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, once if I were to sign up for dirty boxing, yeah, it's gonna be pretty gritty. I don't want to fucking especially for dirty boxing. I do not want nothing, you know, to hold back against. You know what I'm saying? I just want to fucking get everything in there and just lock in with everything and just get it on, get it in, get that war in, get a fun fight in.
oh yeah.
Free Smoke here thought he was going to fight you in the first round of the tournament. But he did also say that he thinks there's some great matchups and opportunities for you in January at the event.
Most definitely, hell yeah, hell yeah.
Sounds dope.
So I got to ask, are you doing anything to ride this wave right now on social media? Are you pushing yourself? Are you trying to build a brand right now? Because and we can't stress it enough. Now's the time to strike because you're out there, you're making a name for yourself. And if you get it on the come up, you know what I mean? And there's some guys who missed their opportunity. It passed them right by to market themselves and they didn't do it. So I want to
Yeah.
ask, is that something you think about, something you're doing?
Yeah, that's something I'm really thinking about for sure and trying to get everything together and just, my personality and just trying to get a certain character going on, you know what I'm saying? Just, and continue with that character and just, move on and get some good stuff out of it, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm just trying to get everything together and just move on and hopefully get to market myself later on in the sooner here in the future.
Fucking Free Smoke.
Yeah, bro. Promotion and marketing of oneself and one's brand is very, very key.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to make some money off of this, if you're trying to go to the next level after Street Beefs, or even if you're just trying to make a name for yourself. You don't necessarily have to portray a character. You know what I'm saying? Some guys have that, and do that, and that works. But overall, it's showcasing you and your work. You know what I'm saying, and putting your stamp out there. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we try to provide a platform to help people do that, but ultimately the fighter themselves, they have to, you know, they have to promote themselves. You know what I'm saying? And we just hope that, you know, all fighters are doing that, and we're here to help, you know.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely.
Because King Burrcetti, that sounds like a household name.
Yeah, that's what
People
I'm saying.
shouldn't
That's why I made it.
put it
That's
like
why.
this. People shouldn't be surprised to hear you got 8 fights. That should be a well-known thing, right?
Yeah,
So, you know, let's get our name out there. You know, as a fan watching, you know,
yeah, yeah, most definitely.
I'd like to see you more active, more vocal, more present, you know, amongst the
Yeah,
internet space.
yeah, most definitely. And I'll
Because you
continue to
got the
work on.
fighting. Go ahead.
What's that?
I was just gonna say you got the fighting, like that entertainment factor in the rounds is there. So
Yeah,
you ain't gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, but outside of the rounds, when the round is over, when the full fight is over, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, Free Smoke is being passive aggressive in the comments and making me laugh. But how'd you get your fight name?
oh, he missed the first episode.
Oh
We
yeah,
did all that in the first episode.
yeah. I was gonna say yeah, yeah. I just kind of just made that up, bro. I made my own name up. It wasn't like a nickname made by anybody else. You know what I'm saying? I was just going through the nicknames in my head. You know, just trying to get one good nickname out of my
It's a good
fucking.
one, though. It
It
is. Like,
is. That's what
it really kind of like rolls off the tongue, no diddy, and it's like catchy. You know what I mean? And it's a good one. Like Basam K's right. You could market the shit out of that name.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it's like yeah, I was like at the same time I think of myself like I don't even know what what am I doing, bro? It's like I should get out there and start marketing myself and getting my shit together and you know and start making a name out of myself and who I am and you know and what kind of personality I am or Jesus Christ, man, fuck, what kind of personality I have and you know what kind of character I am and shit like that, you know. So it's just like that's a whole nother like positive thing about marketing yourself is just showing who you really are, you know what I'm saying. That's what I gotta start working on. I'm just trying to I don't know because you know I live in this fucking you know small ass town and shit, so it's like you know I'm trying to find good ways to try to you know do things that I like to do and you know whatever the case it kind of you know shows who I am and whatnot, you know. So fuck.
I mean,
Well,
but you
being
said it
in
right
that,
there, you know, showcasing what you like to do.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's plenty of people who like what you like. You know, we just don't know it until we put it out there, you know?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
well, being that you're talking about being from a small town, how do you navigate training that way?
Your wings. Oh yeah, thank you. Hold on, I'll be there in a second. Wait, what was that? What was that question?
Were you being in a small town, and I know that you Free Smoke had asked earlier about your training partners. How do you navigate that having such a limited access to training partners? What kind of things do you focus on in training, and how do you go about that?
Just with my flow of how I fight, you know what I'm saying, and just getting, you know, just having more of the flow of like how I shadow spar and just kind of you know putting that in to the cage, you know. But I'm also you know looking forward to you know shadow you know not what the hell some sparring partners and some you know what I'm saying just some one-on-one type of you know sparring and training whatever the case. What the hell happened? Oh, okay.
you're kind of
Something
chopping.
wrong.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
chopping in
something.
and out.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I'm just trying to just work on just my flow and everything before getting to the gym. I feel I got the flow and everything. I really do got the flow. You know, I feel it every time I shadow spar. I feel I got the flow every time I shadow spar and just get in, you know. I just got to go into a gym and, you know, start working on it with everybody else and work on everybody and see how they are and how they fight and how they spar, you know, and just all that.
I'm
all that good
excited
stuff.
to see, because the growth you had from your first fight till now without being in a gym, like, it's going to be crazy the leap you can make once you hit a gym.
Yeah. Just,
Absolutely, bro.
yeah, most definitely. Like the more experience that I will get getting in the gym and shit like that. I don't even jump rope, like all like except for like heavy bags and stuff like that. I mean, of course, like, you know, with the heavy bag that I have right now is like, you know, the straps are ripped off of that motherfucker. So it's like, but with the all the basic equipment that I have for boxing, like jump ropes and all, I don't have all that big basic major, you know, stuff like that. You know, I just kind of just go with how I fight and just, you know, what I do and stuff like that. So it's just like, if I were to get into that type of stuff, then it's like it's gonna be a whole lot better for me personally, and just, you know, just with everything around that, you know, and just me getting in the competition and shit like that, you know, and just fucking getting
Be
in there and
another level up.
putting in the work, you know. Yeah.
Well, man, you know, we got plenty of gyms out here, you know, plenty of fighters out here. You just gotta, you know, reach out and you know, I'm sure someone, you know, will be able to work with you.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know, and then there's plenty of places that offer, you know, open sparring on certain days. You know, you just call them up and say, hey, do you guys offer a free day of sparring, and what day is it? You know, what time is it? You know. But yeah, man, like Jay was saying, I mean, you've come so far on your own, you know, with the bare minimum. You know, once you start gaining access to, you know, XYZ, you know, sky's the limit, man. You'll be leveling up again, you know, and you know, that kind of leads me to like, where do you want to take this? Where is, or what is, you know, the end goal, or is there a goal? You know, what, you know, how far are we going here?
Just see if I can make it in the you know, just to slowly go up. Just see if I can make it in the amateur, you know, with everything like that. If I really want to compete, you know, just try to make it in the amateur. You know, obviously I got to get in the gym for that. You know what I'm saying? So I got to work on doing that, you know. But as soon as I do that, sooner here in the future, you know, then then I can really start, you know, opening up a lot of things of how I, you know, do stuff with my training and stuff like that, you know, and just everything around that. But besides the point of just how far I'm gonna get with this, it's just like, you know, like I said, just step by step, just getting in the amateur. If I could succeed with amateur, then go in the pro and, you know, turn it up there. You know what I'm saying?
And the Streeteefs
'Cause
is a good place to start. And I also think that nobody's perfect and people will always have something to bitch about. But I think Free Smoke and everybody who's involved with the matchmaking do a wonderful job of helping fighters like test themselves without getting them murdered, you know, in there. And they do a great job of matching up. And it's great because we get to watch guys build through Streeteefs. And I think the matchmaking has a lot to do with it. And I think it'll just serve everybody really well when they move on, if they do move on to amateurs or anything else from there, because you didn't just get thrown to the wolves right away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you progressively gain experience, and you know, that's key, especially when going into the amateurs. You don't want to just jump into the amateurs cold or with just, you know, gym training alone. You know, and I'm sure you've had your share of street fights as well, you know, which, you know, all that combined helps, you know, when you take it to the next stage and then the next stage.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
So what made you, though, originally, if anybody hasn't heard this already, because I think we did cover this on the first episode, but anybody who's hasn't seen it, because we've been jumping up some views here lately on the live shows, which shout out to all of you out there who have been watching. But what made you go, I need to go get punched in the face in a backyard street club or fight club?
Just my fucking crazy ass self. I mean, as soon as I got mentioned that this shit was here in my same town, I'm like, dude, I gotta do this shit. I can't, it's just something in there in the back of my mind was just like, bro, if you don't do this, you're pretty much bitching out of something that you could, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I
be
like
into
it.
something like that, it's just like, so I'm like, bro, I gotta do this. I gotta give it a try. I gotta give it a shot. And that's why I was like, bro, you can't just, back out of something that, you can't deny yourself and like, you know what I'm saying? Like reject yourself on something that you could, be your best at, and that's what I was just like, I gotta take my shot at this, I gotta give this shit a shot. And then here we are, bro, we're, moving up into this and looking forward to continuing that step by step, one by one,
That's the thing, though. Like, I know some people will be like, oh, I'm just waiting until I'm ready. And it's like, bro, you're never going to feel ready. Ready is not a feeling. It is a decision. And you made that decision that you're ready right now. And, like, you guys are in a class of people who, like, you have done things just by showing up and fighting at Streeteefs that most people will never experience.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It takes balls for days. Like, you know what I mean? Like you said, though, you said, like, you told yourself you ain't going to be a bitch and not do this, but not that people who don't do it are a bitch, but it takes a certain set of fucking balls. And the fact that some people just have that drive as soon as they see it and they're like, I'm doing that. And there's other people who see that and go, hell no.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. It's something said for someone who's constantly looking for the challenge to level up, to become better,
exactly.
and I've seen it in you since day one, and you've shown and proved it. This is why, you were on the show the first time. This is why we had to get you back the second
After
time.
the very first fight too, bro. I was shocked about that too, bro. After the very first fight, just going into, to your guys' podcast, I'm like, damn, bro.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
but I saw it then, and like I said, you've shown improved, in the time since, and, I only see you getting better, and I'll be reaching back out, to have you come back on, you know what I'm saying? And more classic fights in the future, I already know.
This is what Sam K does perfectly. He figures out people he sees something in. He gets them on right away, which makes me want to follow what they're doing because now I'm invested because I got to hear the story. And then I watch your fights as you go, and then he brings you back on. But it's like, for me, it's almost like I'm watching a live movie. Does this make sense? Like, you're watching the progression, and it's almost like a movie where they go in and they train and they get better, and then they go beat the bad guy at the end. But there's really no, like, end to it. But it's, like, really amazing for me to watch, and I get so excited and I get proud of people I don't even know.
Yeah
It's like some of these guys have it's I get exactly what you're saying. It's like watching Rocky 1 through 8 through some of these guys, what I mean? Like, each battle is its own story. And then you have so many battles and you look back and it's like, damn, a little bit of time, but like a lot has happened. A lot of story has happened,
No bullshit. There is going to be a time where I'm sitting with my grandkid and I'm watching old Streeteefs. And then I'm like, check out this interview we did with this person. And like, there's going to be this whole story to tell my grandkid of watching this stuff growing up.
Facts. We got it all
And
documented.
thank you all for giving us fans that. Like, I don't know if you guys hear that enough, but you literally go and put your health and safety on the line for something you love to entertain the rest of us.
Facts. Yeah, man.
And it
And
probably
like,
drives other people to do this shit too.
oh yeah,
You know, especially like the outcomes of the fights and everything like that. That's why I try to have like the best outcomes of like, I'm starting to, because that's what kind of makes the fight everything is like, what, maybe not the intro, but like, what they say is just like, fuck, man, like everything. Oh my God, I don't know. Jesus Christ, I'm fucking bad at that, but I'm bad at fucking keeping up with phrases, but it's almost just like, you know, it's almost just like, it's not how it starts, it's just how it finishes. That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is, And that's why it's just like that, just the outcomes of the fights and, especially like how big that fight was and just how you go out of that fight. It just brings a lot more of like the hype in that fight, just coming out of it, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's just like
yeah,
because everything might not start all like, gloomy and blossomy and shit, but everything ends in, what I'm saying? Everything ends in a fucking pure fucking war and shit,
yeah.
and just, can come out in a hypeful way.
Well, like you guys were talking about, like you didn't have the start you wanted, but the growth that we've watched and the fact that you're determined to get better, to do more. It is so impressive.
Yeah.
And it takes a special kind of mindset to even want to do that. Can you talk a little bit about how you felt after the first loss and how it drove you to go from there?
I feel like, especially that close fight that I had with Deploy, man, to be honest, with just seeing that fight over and over again, I feel like that fight could have been a draw. You know what I'm saying? But even after that fight and going up against Stickman and Bloody Raps and shit like that, and just coming back from those losses, it just helped me learn like, I can come back. It's not too late to just to quit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can never just quit just because you lost at something. You know what I'm saying? You can always come back and do better, do it all over again and do better at it. You know what I'm saying? Just adjust it, adjust what you can. And I think that's what I'm, starting to be capable of, like, learning for myself and just having that experience, just coming back from these losses and just, getting right back in there and, getting back to work and just trying to go for the win, and not even just trying to go for the win, but just, have a fun fight, get that good fun war in, get that good fun fight in. And it's just like, that's something that just matters and something that's just very important, getting into these type of, situations and type of fights and shit like that, So
I like that. That speaks towards your mentality and as well as your fight style. If you were to dwell on, the first few, L's, it's like you don't go anywhere. But if you
yeah,
focus on getting back to, that space of like, this is where I want to be, this is where it's dope, this is where I'm having a good time. It's banging it out, it's throwing these bombs, taking some, giving some, we forget that sometimes. And even myself, I remember when I was fighting, I'd take it too serious. I'd get so wrapped up in the competitive aspect that I would take the fun out of it, right? And really, I think about, being in the gym and, even just sparring. It's all about having a good time. It's, some of the best times, so if you can do that in your fight, I think that's pretty dope.
yeah,
That's pretty damn dope. And it gives you motivation from a different place.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I see it in how you throw your punches. It's like, oh, there's a different type of determination. There's a different type of motivation there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely.
Well, you guys are definitely in a different mindset because, like, I grew up playing team sports and I wrestled, which is an individual sport, but when you lose, you have a team there, right? Still, you know what I mean? Where you guys, like, yeah, some people may have coaches and stuff like that, but it's a really lonely place to be, I'm guessing, after a loss in a combat sport like that.
Yeah, most definitely.
Especially if you don't have like a fight team, but you know, having a strong will, strong mentality, and then I think with Burrcetti, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you just have a different perspective on it. You know, looking at it from the point of view of like getting back to having fun and also getting yours back, getting the win back, but having fun.
And just getting experience too, like just the experience of just like getting in there and you know, adjusting yourself and like after the fight and you watched your fight and shit like that and just like, you know, kind of just watching it and what you need to adjust and like, okay, this is what I need to do. I'm gonna get this done in my next fight. I'm gonna try to, you know, do as much as I can and adjust and make sure things are a bit different. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm trying to get at with every fight that I get into, you know?
Yeah, definitely see it. Those adjustments, being able to adapt.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen you actually have shot placement, you know, and use a selection of certain shots.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. Yeah.
I said, look, this man, he got him up against the wall and he knows what shots to throw. I said, okay, I see you. I see you. So kudos to you, man. Before we wrap, man, is there anything you want to let the people know before we wrap, before we get your social medias and all that?
I think the real reason why I really got into this shit and like, you know, when it first got mentioned, Jesus Christ, when it first got mentioned with like street beefs and like when it was here in town, I was just like, yeah, I got to get into this because of like and it's not just because of like growing up and, you know, being picked on and shit like that. Cause I, you know, obviously, you know, growing up being picked on is, you know, takes a toll on your shits, on your mentality a little bit, you know, but it's also just naturally, genuinely having like this flow of just fighting and just, you know, just getting in there and wanting to, you know, compete and just, you know, do something about this, you know, um, and just have like a different perspective and just seeing that like you can do something that, you know, you're proud of and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You can do something that you're actually proud of. And, you know, you can make a change out of like, you know, of how you see things and stuff like that, you know? But it's just like, yeah, getting into Streeteefs West Coast is just like something that, you know, is just changing how I'm looking at things, you know, and just how, not just, you know, with my fighting and everything, but just like everything around it, outside of it, and just like, what people go through, either their training camps or just personal wise of like, you know, whatever, you know, just outside of, you know, of their fights and shit like that, you know? So it's just getting to learn, not just the experience of fighting, but just the experience of what everybody goes through and just, you know, how they get through this, you know, to get into their, you know, their fights and stuff like that, you know? And I think that's what I'm starting to learn with everything around that and just, you know, and how people are capable of doing this and having the will to do this, just like what I'm trying to do right now. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, keeping myself pushing and just, you know, keep myself fighting with this, you know. But other than that, you know, it's been quite a fun, interesting roller coaster journey that I'm having with this. So, you know, I mean, what could I say, you know? But it's been quite a fucking ride, man. Quite a ride.
Back, man. Well, you know, it's been amazing to witness, you know, and I know, you know, the story continues. And yeah, man, it's been a pleasure having you on tonight. You know, if there's any social medias or any, you know, anything you want to let the people know where they can reach you, now would be the time.
King Burrcetti 714 on Instagram. I think that's the only social media I have besides like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. You know, YouTube's just King Burrcetti. I don't really have anything posted like recently on there, whatever. But like, you know, one of these days, I mean, you never know, man. So it's just like, you know, just trying to, you know. But yeah, you know, my social medias for YouTube King Burrcetti, Instagram King Burrcetti 714. Yeah, just those two basically. So.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time so much, man. Thank you.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right. You guys have a great night.
Y'all go check out that man's fights, King Burrcetti, Streeteefs West Coast. He's got banger after banger on there.
And he got wings waiting for him.
And he got wings waiting for him.
I'm just saying, it makes me hungry. I don't know. I don't even eat wings, and I'm like, that made me hungry.
Same. And I do eat wings.
Another great show, man. Like, watching him level up is really cool. And like I said, as a fan, like you put it good, it's like watching the Rocky saga, right? You're watching somebody level up. Now I don't know why I got picture somebody running in the mountains in Nevada and like doing the whole like, yeah, from Rocky 4 before he goes and fights the Russian.
Lifting the log up.
If he dies, he dies.
Punching the frozen cow. Yeah, man. Another great episode, man. Couldn't have done it without you, brother. You know, we kill it every week. Shout out to King Burrcetti. It's been a pleasure watching his growth, being able to witness his fights in person and ref his fights as well. So, like I said, 2026, more bangers ahead of us. Looking forward to it. Shout out to our guests. Shout out to my co-hosts. Shout out to everyone watching us live. Shout out to Streeteefs, OG Yard, West Coast, Dirty South. We do this for y'all. Shout out to Overtime Hustling Magazine. Shout out to Heart in the Fight. We do this for y'all. We appreciate y'all. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Same time, same place next week.
All right. Well, I already praised you earlier, so I don't want it to start to get weird. No, Sam K does a great job setting up all the guests. I can't thank you enough. You always make sure, and you do, like I said, you do a great job of seeing something off the bat and getting somebody in as they climb up the ladder with their skill level. So it's always nice to watch.
I just be a fan.
There you go. And you got the best seat in the house.
Yep.
Yeah, but it does help that not only do you ref, you fought, you understand the game. So you see things that a lot of people aren't going to see, and you got the best seat in the house to see it. And you're smart enough to jump on that right away and be like, hey, let's get this guy in because something good's about to come. And then you make the rest of us look like fucking geniuses too. So I appreciate that. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. About 5 minutes from now on the channel, make sure you check out Winging It going live. And we have a bunch of shows on the channel, so just make sure you hit that subscribe and notification button. And I see we've jumped about 20 subscribers in the last week, so I appreciate you all so much. And one world, one love. Deuces.